Oh, sorry. Didn't know we were back. I was just, I'm more of a reader than watching videos. And while the video was playing, I was checking out this amazing book called All American. Have you guys heard of it? No? Well, I think we have a special treat for you today because joining us today, we have author James Suntres joining us to discuss All American, all right, and how to develop. Oh, there he is, and how to develop our writing skills using All American. So, James, welcome back.
It's good to be back. It's hard to believe that it's been a year since we did the last presentation. My goodness, time certainly flies.
Just like that.
And so I see we have a good turnout. And shall we begin?
Yes. So, James, I'm going to give the floor to you. I'm sure people want to hear you speak more than me. So let's. I
Well,
will give you the floor,
you
and
guys
let me
always.
hold up your presentation.
Mhm.
And if you need anything, just just shout my name and I will appear. So
Sure.
everybody, you're in good hands now. I will give you the floor,
Okay.
James.
Well, hello, everybody. Katerina, I just bought it. Love it. Well, thank you for that, Katerina. And yeah, we're going to be talking about the writing on the ECPE and how we approach it in our new course book, which I'm very proud of, All American Writing. My subtitle is Product, Process, and Practice, which is the methodology we've approached in the writing segment of the book of this really fantastic course book. So without further ado, let us begin. First, I'm going to have just review the revised ECPE. We did do a seminar on the revised ECPE last year, and if you go to the CAMLA website, the YouTube channel, they've got really comprehensive presentation on the ECP writing. But in a nutshell, we have, as you've seen, many of you have seen this exam, and you have the book, so you've seen it. We have three thematically related visual prompts. They're called sources on the exam, and the choice of two topics. Topic one is either a proposal or an article, and topic two is an essay. And the combination visuals and the way the topic is worded, it's actually very much a guided writing activity. There's a lot more guidance provided to students on the new ECP than in the previous ECP, was just basically a topic given to students. So we have the visual sources, three thematic related visuals, and we have the topic, which is worded in a very special way. And I think the way the topic is presented facilitates the writing process. And actually, it was the wording of the topic which basically provided me with a methodological framework to prepare the writing section of this book. So we have the topic begins with a statement that introduces an issue or a problem. Then there's a second sentence which is a reference to the people, the students, the citizens, the employees, whatever, that are affected by whatever is presented in the first sentence. And then there's a third statement which signals who my reader or readers is going to be. So it's going to be the mayor of the city, the director of a company, the dean of a university, whatever. And of course, a final very brief instruction: use information from one of the sources. So a statement introducing the situation, people that are affected by the situation, who you're going to address your proposal, article, or essay to. And here we have an example of the rubrics for the proposal. This is actually from the exam that was released by CAMLA, and the theme is social media users and the internet, and using social media to express your opinion, etc. So I'm sure you've seen these, but I'll let you a couple of time, give you a couple of minutes so you can go over these visuals. So the three sources are basically the same format. You have one source, which gives a type of graph, comparative graph, like sales in 2019 of a certain product and sales in 2020 of a certain product. The second source is always a statistic of some sort, like such and such a percentage point of such and such people do such and such a thing. And the third prompt is a very brief statement which refers to the issue that we'll be dealing with in the topic. So the source, and you'll see this in the book that we'll be looking at, the sources are always the same basic format, the same basic layout. And next, we have our topics. And task one, in this case, is an article, and task two is an essay. And I'll give you some time to read this. I'm sure you've probably read it if you've downloaded the specimen practice exam from CAMLA. So, Vasilis, that's sweet of you, Vasilis. I really miss you too, sir. Anyway, so what I want you to pay attention to is not so much the content, the topic itself, but the structure, because this is very, very important. So notice in both of these topics, we have a statement introducing a situation. So teachers in your school plan to use a popular social media platform for class activities. So this is a situation. And teachers and students who are impacted by this. Some like it, some don't. So write an article. And who are you writing it to? The school newspaper. So situation, people impacted by the situation, who your readers are going to be. And also always reminded, use at least one piece of information given to support your response from the above sources. Which is, of course, I'm going to mention this again, in the writing component of our book, we do a lot of activities showing students how to exploit the visuals in their writing and how these visuals do help facilitate the writing process. So this is basically the format of all of the topics that we'll be encountering in our book, because this is the format of the examination. So a little theoretical groundwork here. When it comes to writing, okay, this isn't new, this isn't groundbreaking, just a bit of a reminder. We have, on the one hand, we have focusing on the product, the so-called product approach. And then on the other hand, we have this onus on how we write, the process is involved in writing. So product approach versus process approach. Product approach, what we write is what is a focal point, and we use different models, the types of models that we want students to recreate in their writing, and the type of activities we have are more related to text analysis type activities, as students look at this model and then kind of like deconstruct it to understand how it's been formed. And then on the other side of the coin, because actually it's two sides of the same coin. These are not two opposing approaches to writing. Okay, sometimes they're presented in this way. I've seen books, the product approach to writing. I've seen books, the process approach to writing. But actually, they're not two different things at all. They're very much part of the same continuum. In the process approach, we look at the how of writing. Okay, what do we do to organize our ideas, to develop a topic? How do we come up with the right type of words? What do we mean by rhetorical organization? What do we mean by cohesion and coherence? And how can we when we proofread? What do we focus on, and how do we proofread? So these are all the things involved in the process of writing. But as I said, these are not opposing terms. They're very much the same thing. There's no difference at all, in the sense that, on the one hand, we're telling students this is what you're going to write, this is the finished product. But we're also showing them, after analyzing this finished product, okay, well, now we're going to show you how to do this. And this is the methodology we approach. When in the writing component of this book. So what we've done in this in the writing component of this book, we have I like to call it product to process to practice. We of course begin with, and I'm going to show you a model writing component for those of you who don't have the book yet. But I take it for granted all you're going to get this really fantastic book, which I'm very, very proud of. I'm very proud to have been part of it. So we have each component begins with a visual prompts, and then we have questions that help students discuss the prompts, and they link the prompts to the topic. In the product stage of each component, we begin with an example of the type of writing students are expected to reproduce, an example of an article, of a proposal, of an essay, and then questions that help students analyze the text, focusing on the writer's purpose, almost the same types of questions you'd have in the reading comprehension segment, actually, writer's purpose, how it's been organized. And while I'm, a small digression here, in helping students with the writing, they develop a better understanding of how text works at the discourse level. And when they have a better understanding of how text works at a discourse level, then obviously they become better readers as well. So after we've looked at the models, we go into the process stage of each component. And here we look at sentences, activities at the sentence level, paragraph level. At this point, though, it's more consolidation than anything. I mean, these are C2 level students, really advanced students. They're not really learning anything new. We're giving them an opportunity to apply, hopefully, what they've learned all these years in a very clear framework, which is reproducing the prompt that they've been provided. And then we have the practice stage, and here guided writing, where students have an opportunity to use all these wonderful things that we've taught them. New set of visuals, topic, and a framework to provide them some sort of guidance, some sort of brainstorming, and then hopefully they'll write a really fantastic essay or composition or article or proposal. Each unit finishes off with a language bank. The language bank highlights key phrases, lexis, structures, and of course, useful exam strategies. And at this point, I like to say that the writing component in All American, like yes, it's All American, the Michigan exam, but writing is writing. It's a reflection of the C2 level. So irrespective of what exam your students are sitting for or what their language needs are, it helps them become effective writers at a C2 level. Our goal, this is our goal, to help them learn how to write. Of course, with the Michigan examination in mind, but our main concern is helping them become more effective writers. So right now, I'd like to have a look at the unit itself, the component. This is from Unit 4, and hopefully you can see that. So we have the visual here. Again, the exact same format as the exam. Myself, I've always been a bit of a perfectionist in all my work for exams and practice materials. My own personal philosophy, it doesn't, it's not enough for it to look like the exam. It has to reflect the rationale in every way. And I think we did accomplish this with this book. So we have our three visuals. The first one here with the graph, our statistic, and the statement referring to this. You'll notice that we have our topic, and then the first set of questions focus on the relationship between the visual sources and the topic. So the first sets of questions encourage students to see the connection, to draw connections, to verbalize the visuals, to write a sentence or two about each visual, how it relates to the topic. And this is one very important skill that they have to apply. You're seeing a graph. Well, basically, they're being asked to take this visual and to basically summarize what they're seeing, interpret what they're seeing within the parameters of the topic, which is a very important academic skill if you think about it, because this is exactly what students do in academia, right? And for professional needs, you see graphs, you see information, and you have to present it in prose in such a way that you analyze and present your interpretation. So this is what the rationale here is, and this is what we develop. Then we have our model, and I'm not going to tire you with reading through it. This is something that you can do on your own. I just want to explain our method here. So we have our product. Okay, this is the product part of the component. We have the product, and after each product, we have a set of text analysis type questions, as I mentioned earlier. What is the writer's why has the writer's purpose? Why has the writer organized the text in such and such a way? What is the main idea and role of each of these paragraphs? One thing I want to mention here, and perhaps some of you might even call me out and say, "Oh, this is a bit delimiting." All of the models that I've worked with and we tried to replicate have 4 paragraphs. Opening paragraph stating the reason for writing, and the opening paragraph is basically a student's interpretation of the situation and the people impacted by the situation. one paragraph, and in the one paragraph, typical situation, um, students have to talk about, you know, who is impacted, why this is serious, and some sort of proposal, solution, and then conclusion. So the way the topic is presented, I it's pretty well of a four paragraph format, and I noticed that in the essays that the CAMLA provides, the ones that they said, well, this is what writing that students have produced, and this is how we've evaluated it. I've noticed that the most of the successful essays, or those that were a pass, as it were four paragraphs long. Of course, it's quite possible for students to deviate, if you will, from this format and write more paragraphs. That's beside the point, and do this successfully. But I find that this is what we've come up with here is a teachable model, and this is this is what's important. It's something which is teachable and easily replicated. Do I want my students to become great writers? Yeah, of course. But this is something they'll come later on their own volition. My goal as a teacher is to help them become effective writers, so when they write something, it's understood, not necessarily being perfect writers. Then after we look at the wait, let me just go down here. Wait, I got it. Wait, let's see. Oh my goodness, I'm not gonna move down here. There we go. Sorry. So after we look at the product mode, we have the practice mode. And here we have a wide variety of sentence level activities and paragraph level activities, and a lot of work on discourse. So sentence level activities, we look at a lot of different things using emphasis, making sentences more emphatic, how to make language. In one of our units, we have an activity where how to make language a little more formal. You're writing an essay. How to make language a little less formal. If you're doing a proposal, we try to do a little work on register. As much as this is, of course, teachable, a lot of what's in register is not really that teachable. Whatever is teachable, we have covered it in All American, the writing component in All American. And after we look at the sentence level activities, we look at paragraph level activities, how to organize paragraphs. And this one activity here, I want to draw your attention to. It's this so-called seek, where you make a statement, you evaluate the statement, you exemplify and clarify the statement, and you complete your idea. SEEC is the acronym. This is an approach for organizing a paragraph in expository prose, no matter what your situation is. This is not, as I said, it's not only about the exam. It's about writing expository prose in any type of academic, professional, or personal context, if you will. If it is a situation where you have to write something expository personally, it's and this is important, as I said, for all exams. It's not like the fact that we say it's for the mission exam. It doesn't mean that it's not appropriate for any exam, because after all, writing is writing. And also another very important thing is the hope is that these activities will accumulate, and students will they'll look back on a previous unit in their writing and use this as a reference. Any course material, and I want to stress this, that the movement through a course book is not linear, like you go from point A to point B to point C to point D, etc., etc. you always encourage your students, go back to, if you're doing an essay and, you see that students have difficulty, they do an activity and they see they haven't quite organized their paragraph so well. Say, you know what, go back to page such and such, go to that seek activity and just review it a bit and see, what is involved in organizing an essay, and try to apply this. And after our practice, we go to um, after our process, we go to the practice. And it's here where, again, we bring everything together. And we begin with our visual. Again, our graph here, our statistic, brief statement that relates to our theme, our topic, and questions that help students connect the two. And then a lot of brainstorming activities. The brainstorming activities not only focus on ideas and words, but how to organize the essay, and topic development and rhetorical uh, organization. It's very, very thorough. By the time they've completed the course book, they've pretty well covered every possible requirement for writing at a C2 level. It's been, from a methodological point of view, it is very, very, very solid. I want to stress too that we have a wide variety of task types throughout the book. There's a great deal of variety. It's not the same type of activity again, 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 again. We have a lot of different activities, selection activities, rephrasing activities. It's the book is pretty versatile. And then we finish off with the final practice, the essay slash proposal slash article that students are going to be writing. Each unit begins with a very important exam taking strategy. The exam taking strategies are applicable in any type of exam taking situation. And the exam taking strategies are actually not exam taking strategies only, but also suggestions on how to become better writers, because this is our goal, right? We want them to become better writers. We finish off with the language bank, with useful expressions, phrases, collocations. And again, the language bank items are useful generally, okay, not only in the writing section of the exam, but why not also, I mean, in the speaking section too, eh? So that is it. Basically, it's a pity, the situation is such we can't do this in real life, so we can actually go over and discuss things a little more fully. But this is beyond our control. So I want to stress that the main emphasis in what we're doing is giving students a reason to write. This is one of the I've been to the University of Michigan many times, back in the 90s, but the philosophy is more or less the same. And I noticed this with the way the way the new writing section is presented. and this is, this importance of having purpose. Students have to have a reason to write. And without this reason to write, they won't write. This has always been the cornerstone of their approach to the writing rubrics on all their examinations. So how is this created? Well, we have the visuals, right, that provide a very enhanced context. We have a topic which is very clear and simple. Without being simplistic, I stress this, but simplicity is their students, although it's just one sentence, basically, 1 or 2 sentences, it's enough. It's combined with the visuals, there's a lot there to kind of like stimulate the students and get them thinking and generating ideas. And generation of ideas is important for writing. Without the ideas, how can you write, right? I mean, it's goes without saying. And the topic also includes this presentation of who is going to read this. So if I can visualize a reader, then again, this makes the writing so much easier. So in a nutshell, when we're working on the ECP writing with our students, it's writing at the C2 level, okay, irrespective of what this is for. It's not just, it's more than the exam. They will become, working with All American, the writing component, they will become really effective writers. And I feel very, very, very proud about this. You've seen a copy of the book. Terry displayed it. It's available, and it's really fantastic. All the components, has all the components you'd expect a course book to have. And I'm open to any of your questions.
Okay, James, thank you very much. It was a lovely presentation. I'm sure all of us would agree. And so, yes, as you can see, we will begin the question and answer portion of today's talk. And I will just ask all of you to write your questions to James or myself. And just make sure to put a question mark at the end so that the platform here recognizes it as a Q&A. So let me officially begin Q&A. All right, so Q&A has been enabled. All right, so let's see. Let's go to the first questions. When will the companion be available? The companion will become available very soon. Very soon. How many units? James, would you like to field this?
Yes, it's 10 units.
Yes, workbook is available. Students book workbook available. You can call us right now to get your inspection copies.
Should we mark them with marks at 20 or A, B, or yeah, that's, as far as, you mean if we want to indicate to students whether or not they've passed when they're doing the writing, Olga, could you please clarify that question a bit?
Okay, so while Olga clarifies her question, let's get the next question.
Oh yeah. So do you think there's this one question? Do you think that's I missed one question about is do they need a separate writing book, or is All American enough? A course book, it's the main backbone, say, of your course. Now, is a course book enough? Do I need an extra writing book? That depends. If there's no such thing as, you cannot do enough work on writing. You cannot do enough work on anything. The more work you do, the better. If your time allows it, then of course, by all means, a writing book, I strongly recommend it. A course book, it gives you a very basic type of understanding of what is required. It gives you the types of skills that have to be developed. But to more fully develop these skills, I would strongly recommend, of course, a writing book. And Hamilton House has a wide selection of writing books at this level that you can choose from.
So back to Olga's question.
Okay, how can we mark them? Now, as far as marking them, I recommend that you download, go to the English language assessment webpage and download the rubrics that they have for evaluating the writing, and evaluate your students' writing on the basis of these rubrics. And just use the same kind of like marking system that they used at the English language assessment. Olga, that's my recommendation to you. On the other hand, though, you can also use a marking system based on 20, which is what Greek students are familiar with. There's nothing wrong with using that. So look at the CAMLA rubrics for evaluating the writing, and just on the basis of these rubrics, say this, according to, this is what a 20 looks like, an 18 to 20 looks like, this is what a 15 to 17 looks like, etc. And you can base your marking on the rubrics. So you can have kind of like a hybrid marking system based on the rubrics, but also using something your students can relate to.
I'll field this one. That's correct. At the moment, we have the course book audio on our website. The workbook audio is in the final stages of being completed now, so it should be uploaded very soon, probably in the next 2 weeks at most.
Is a topic students have the no. It's a different topic altogether. Same basic theme, but it's a different topic. Michigan's strictly right. Well, these language examinations, like at the C2 level, they're more similar than they're different. They might have, the differences are more superficial. So let's say you have a group of students, and they're going to be sitting for the Michigan, but two of them are not. Two of them are sitting for one of the other C2 level exams. You don't have to have a separate group. Keep them together. Language is the same. The book is very comprehensive. It'll cover all the language requirements of the C2 level, irrespective of what examination students will be sitting for. And 1 school year is enough to prepare for students for ECPE. Popey, that's a really good question. And the answer to that is no. I know a lot of people say it's possible. I'm very traditionalist in this way. I think you need at least 2 years to prepare solidly for the Michigan examination. You have to do the work. I mean, it's not. I know it's been done. I mean, most students pass marginally if that's your goal, but if you want students to become really effective language users, they have to do the work.
Okay, well, thank you very much, James, and sorry for the technical hitch there, everybody. But
no worries.
You have to be flexible and you have to adapt. One answer is the
Go
book
with the flow
for after B2. Of course, C1, C2 level. It is suitable.
Yes, C1 level. Although my own recommendation is do a C1 level course book first. Okay, Hamilton House has, I think, a couple of those. Do a C1 level course book first before you do this. It's a challenging book. We made, for what it's worth, we did when we initially we do the material, and then we do a profile of the material. And if we saw that the vocabulary was like B1, B2 level, we would go back and we would redo it and change the vocabulary, change the lexis, without this disrupting the flow of ideas, so the text would not look in any way contrived. Vocabulary activities, we made every effort to make sure they're C2 level vocabulary, so it is a challenging book. So this means good idea to do C1 level course book beforehand, before you dive into this. And this will take students as far as they can be taken in an EFL context.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. Well, dare I say goodbye, everybody? Well, we have some more questions. Why not? The floor is yours.
Challenge. What if the student is really good? You know, it's your call, but you know, the work has to be done, and I think C1 level book has to be done before this. This is my own feeling.
Hmm.
So, anyways,
All right,
that's
James.
it, I guess.
I'll let you go,
Take
James.
care.
And so thanks again. And we'll be looking forward to the next seminars with you.
Yes, I think we have next week, if I'm not mistaken.
Absolutely. And I was just about to close off with that. So thank you, James, and everybody watching now. Remember, we have more webinars coming up. So please keep an eye on our social media, on our Facebook, on our Instagram. We are posting the registration links, the dates, the topics, and please share with all your colleagues. And we look forward to seeing you in the next webinar next week. Everybody have a great day and a great weekend. Goodbye.